There are 3 simple strategies to control your insulin, reduce your visceral fat, and it's backed by science. And if you do these right, you can lower your insulin by as much as 20 to 40%. And here is what your doctor probably never mentioned. There's small tweaks in how and when you eat that can smooth out your insulin spikes, making your fat loss easier and helping you target that dangerous fat that's around your organs. My name is Michael Diamonds. I'm a medical doctor with degrees in biochemistry and microbiology and a pro natural bodybuilder. Side note, hack number 2 is my personal favorite. You don't have to change what you're eating. Same foods, same portions, just change the order and when you eat them, and you can dramatically improve your insulin response. It's wild. But first, let's quickly break down the science so these all make sense. Why insulin makes you store fat. Here's an interesting fact most people don't know. In lab experiments, fat cells can sit in a dish with glucose, fatty acids, and amino acids, but they barely store anything until you add insulin. The moment insulin shows up, those fat cells flip the switch and start filling with fat droplets, right? That's how powerful insulin is. It's the body's fat storage switch. And let me explain in a simple way, the way I wish I had been explained to me in medical school when I was studying medicine. Your body's like a library. Carbs are the books and insulin is the librarian. At first, the librarian stacks the books neatly on the shelves, right? But when there are too many, the librarian doesn't know what to do and they get shoved right under the carpet because the librarian needs to do their job. That's fat storage. The problem isn't insulin. It's spiking over and over with your constant eating. That's what locks your body in storage mode and drives fat around your organs. But the good news, you can flatten those spikes with a few simple tricks. And no, that doesn't mean starving yourself or cutting out the foods that you love. So let me show you 3 of the most effective hacks. And I've been using them with my clients and the science that make them work. Trick number 1, apple cider vinegar protocol. In your kitchen right now, you probably have apple cider vinegar. The key compound is called acetic acid, and it's been shown to calm insulin spikes and make your cells more sensitive. So your body needs less insulin to handle the same food. And I'll tell you how my clients use it, and then I'll explain why it works. First, you get yourself some raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar and make sure that it's the kind with the cloudy layer in the bottle, and that's why they call it the mother. Before your 2 largest meals of the day, which is usually lunch and dinner, mix 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in a cup of water. And if you're using 1 cup of water, add 1 tablespoon. If you prefer 2 cups, go with 2 tablespoons. And drink it 10 to 15 minutes before you eat. That's it. Simple, but it's incredibly effective. So here's why it works. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Functional Foods found that consuming vinegar before a high-carb meal reduced post-meal blood sugar spikes by 20% and insulin by 19%. And there's another study by Arizona State University, and it showed that vinegar consumption before bedtime lowered fasting blood sugar by 4 to 6% the next morning. The acetic acid in apple cider vinegar works through multiple mechanisms. 1, it slows down gastric emptying. That means the food leaves your stomach more gradually, preventing this rapid blood sugar spike that triggers this massive insulin response. So think of it as turning on this fire hose into a more steady stream. 2, it improves insulin sensitivity. Acetic acid, that active ingredient in apple cider vinegar, activates something called AMPK, adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase. Just remember the name AMPK. It's an enzyme that acts like a metabolic switch. And when AMPK is activated, your cells become more responsive to insulin, meaning you need less of it to do the same job. So think of it as the librarian doesn't need to do much moving to put the books where it needs to. And less insulin circulating equals more fat burning. 3, it inhibits certain digestive enzymes, right? So remember, digestive enzymes' jobs is to digest. It's to break down the foods that you put into your stomach into more simpler compounds. Specifically, it can slow down the breakdown of starches into simple sugars, further blunting the sugar response. Because you're slowing down the starches being broken up, you're not getting more glucose, preventing this high glucose spike, consequently preventing a high insulin spike. And here's what most people don't understand. Even if you're eating the same foods, how your body responds to them metabolically makes all the difference. That's why you guys get these people like, wow, you do so well on carbs. Wow, I don't do so well on carbs. That's the difference. With apple cider vinegar, you're essentially hacking your insulin response to keep your fat burning mode longer. And when you combine this with step 3, I'll get into that one in a little bit, the effectiveness gets even stronger, and you wanna stack these two together and you can significantly boost your results. So here are some tips to maximize your results. Start with 1 tablespoon if you're new to this. Some people can experience some digestive discomfort initially, and then work up to 2 tablespoons, right, over a week or 2. And always dilute it. Never drink it straight. The acidity can damage your tooth enamel. It can irritate your esophagus. It sucks. And use a straw if you're concerned about your teeth, but be consistent. And studies show that the greatest improvements in insulin occur 8 to 12 weeks of regular use. Actually, I've been thinking myself of running an experiment testing my blood sugar with a continuous glucose monitor, a CGM, or a glucometer for 2 weeks to a month to see exactly what happens after taking apple cider vinegar before meals. I'll document everything with real data. If that's something you'd want to see, let me know in the comments and I'll make it happen. I haven't worn a CGM in a while. Insulin trick 2, the food order method. Here's where things get interesting. The order in which you eat your food can dramatically change your insulin response when you're eating the exact same meal. That's crazy. This technique is backed by solid research, and my clients notice steadier energy almost right away, sometimes even body changes within weeks. So here is exactly how to do it. When you sit down for a meal, I want you to eat in this specific order. 1, protein first. Meat, fish, eggs, tofu, at least half of your protein portion. Eat that first. Then your vegetables and your fiber next. Your non-starchy options like broccoli, your spinach, zucchini, or a simple salad. And if you're not eating those, this is the doctor's orders. 3, carbohydrates, we want to have that last. I'm talking about the rice, the pasta, the bread, or the potatoes. And spend at least 10 minutes on step 1 and 2 before touching your carbs. And here's the science behind why this works. There's a groundbreaking 2015 study from Cornell Medical College, and it tested this with type 2 diabetics, right? Because their cells are less sensitive to insulin. So the blood sugar spikes are higher after meal. And the researchers had them eat the exact same meal, but in different order. When they ate protein and vegetables before carbohydrates, their post-meal glucose levels were 29% lower, 37% lower, and 17% lower at 30, 60, and 120 minutes respectively, compared to eating carbs less. Insane. Another 2023 study published by Diabetes Care found that food sequencing strategies reduced insulin spikes by up to 40%, and it improved insulin sensitivity markers over 12 weeks. I also spoke to Dr. Cider about this, and the whole concept is no naked carbs, right? And just remember that, no naked carbs. Just eat the stuff before the carbs so the carbs aren't naked. So why does this happen? Number 1, protein triggers GLP-1. It's a hormone that slows gastric emptying and signals to your pancreas to release insulin more gradually. It's the same hormone drugs like Ozempic mimic. You get the natural version of it just by eating protein first, and that's why I always emphasize in protein in my videos. Protein, have it first. Number 2, fiber creates this net, right? Eating vegetables before carbs means fiber will slow down, right, digestion, so glucose enters your bloodstream more gradually. Think of it as a speed bump that prevents this glucose tsunami. Number 3, protein and fats stimulate the release of peptide PYY. This hormone reduces appetite and also slows down digestion. You'll naturally eat less of the high-carb foods when you come last because you're already getting full. 4, it's the second meal effect. Research shows that controlling your blood sugar at one meal can improve your response at the next meal even hours later. It's like creating momentum for your metabolism. And I tell all of our clients this one because it works no matter where you are. If you're at home, at the restaurant, at a family dinner. If you are into understanding the science behind these tricks, not just what works, but what actually works, then go ahead and just hit the gentle like and subscribe. Let's jump into hack number 3. The final one. Insulin trick 3, the post-meal walking technique. We've all heard that walking is good for you, but what most people don't realize, even a short walk right after eating can make a huge difference to your blood sugar and insulin response. And Japanese researchers have been studying this for decades, and the data is crystal clear, so here's exactly what to do. Within 15 minutes to 30 minutes after finishing a meal, especially meal containing carbohydrates, go for a 10 to 15 minute walk at a comfortable, conversational pace. You don't need a speed walk, you don't need to break a sweat, just move. And do this after at least 2 meals per day, ideally lunch and dinner. And here's the science. There's a 2022 meta-analysis, and it published in Sports Medicine, and they analyzed 51 studies and found that light walking after meal reduced blood sugar spikes by an average of 17% compared to sitting, more importantly. And it also reduced insulin levels significantly. So the question is, okay, Dr. Mike, why is this so effective? Just simply walking after your meal. So number 1 is this, right? Especially for my guys who are type 2 diabetic, type 1 diabetic, muscle glucose uptake doesn't require insulin. When your muscles are contracting during walking, they activate GLUT4 transporters through a mechanism called contraction-mediated glucose uptake. This pulls glucose out of your bloodstream without needing insulin. Your pancreas can relax, your insulin stays low, and you remain in a fat burning mode. Number 2, it increases insulin sensitivity for hours afterward. Post-meal walking primes your muscles to be more insulin sensitive for the next 12 to 24 hours. This creates a positive metabolic cycle. 3, it reduces the lipogenic, the fat storing response. When your blood sugar spikes after a meal, excess glucose gets converted into triglycerides and stored as fat through a process called de novo lipogenesis. But by blunting the blood sugar spike with a walk, you prevent this conversion. Less glucose in the blood equals less fat being made and stored. And number 4, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. This aids in digestion while keeping cortisol, the stress hormone that promotes belly fat storage, in check. You're literally walking off stress while also improving your metabolic food response. So the first 30 to 60 minutes after eating is when insulin is at its highest. This is your prime window to take action. If you're sitting on the couch scrolling during this time, you're missing such a golden opportunity to reprogram your metabolism. So here's how to make this a habit. Number 1, set a phone alarm for 15 minutes after you start eating. When it goes off, time to walk. Maybe make it social. Do post-dinner or post-lunch walks with your family or your partner. Bonding time, plus it's metabolic magic. Walk around your office building after lunch. Use the stairs if you must. Make it part of your workout routine, right? Start small. Even 5 minutes is better than nothing. And then build your way up to 15 minutes and then make it habitual. That's it. No fancy equipment. No gym membership, just you, your legs, and 15 minutes. Now, this is something I tell my clients to do. I make them get a walking pad. I tell them if you can get 2, they're like $150 to $200. Get one in your office and one in the living room. So let's say you guys eat in the dinner table or in the living room. You can quickly get onto the walking pad right after, maybe watch the news or watch a show on Netflix. Now, insulin is this master switch for fat storage. You control insulin, control your body composition. These 3 hacks, apple cider vinegar before meals, eating protein and fiber first, and walking after eating, are the most powerful practical tools that you have on managing your insulin and targeting visceral fat. They work because they're based on human physiology, not your diet trends. They're sustainable because they don't require much restriction, just strategy. And they're also effective because they address the root cause of why visceral fat accumulates in the first place: chronically elevated insulin. Start with trick 1 this week and then add the second next week, and by week 3 implement them all. And if you're a savage like me and my clients, then you can do them all immediately.